Hey there folks, and welcome to the Truck King YouTube channel. This is the 2025 Ford Maverick, and for 2025 there's a bunch of updates, but easily the biggest one is the fact that they have added all-wheel drive to the hybrid powertrain. That's exactly what we have right here, and we're gonna put it to the test. So in this video, I'll tell you about all the features, all the trim levels, and then we'll go for a drive. I'll tell you how it drives, and more importantly, what the fuel economy is like, so make sure you stay tuned. Let's start by looking at this hybrid powertrain. So that is a 2.5 liter inline 4-cylinder engine mated to a hybrid battery pack. Total system output 191 horsepower and 155 pound-feet of torque, and that is sent through an electronic CVT. So when Maverick launched, the base model was the hybrid with just front wheel drive, and Ford overwhelmingly heard from their customers that they wanted the hybrid, but they wanted it with all-wheel drive, which is why we now have it in this package. Now the base front wheel drive model is still available, and then in terms of the price walk, you'll then step up to the 2-liter EcoBoost, the 2-liter EcoBoost with all-wheel drive, and then the most expensive sort of powertrain option now is this one, the hybrid with all-wheel drive. So this engine now sits atop the range, and one of the nice things is it didn't even take a very big hit on its EPA rated fuel economy, but we'll get into that a little bit later on. Now what I want to talk about is the styling, just the way it looks, because this is new for 2025. They've changed the grille, they revised the front end, you get different headlights. All the headlights now have that sort of smoked black backing, so that gives it a pretty unique look as well. Now I will say it's mostly just the nose and the front end they've changed. Everything sort of behind the A-pillar is just about the same. But I do think it looks handsome and maybe even a hair more aggressive and angry than it did before. But why don't you just drop in the comments right now and let me know what you think about the way this truck looks. Now let's look at the business end of this pickup truck. So first of all, no damped tailgate here on the Maverick. One thing I do like is that Ford has brought some of their smartest and best sort of bed features down to this small truck. Things like the tie downs over here on the tailgate, especially with a shorter bed. It's nice to have these because, yeah, you might often have things sort of hanging out. Another feature, which is pretty neat, is right down in here, Ford has actually run power. So if you wanted to rig up something in your bed that requires that 12-volt power, it's right behind these little guys right here. So that's kind of nice, and that's pretty unique that they're sort of giving a nod to the DIYer, someone that wants to install, I don't know, accessory lighting or something like that back here. They've already run the power for you. Now looking at the other features, you are getting a 400-watt plug. So once again, talking about power, you do have the built-in plug. There's LED lights in this bed, and then there's 2 hard tie-down points in the back. I like having those different heights. There's 1 hard tie-down point up here, right in the floor, that big D-ring, and then of course the cleat system, and these guys slide along this rail so you can put them exactly where you want them. So yeah, it's not the biggest bed, and we can throw up the dimensions right here so you can actually see them on screen, but still you're not losing out on any of those bed features, and even things like the spray-in bed liner, right? That's nice. So finally, let's talk towing and payload. This is another big step forward because now that the hybrid has all-wheel drive, it can also get the 4K towing package, so this truck can now do 4,000 pounds. And once again, if you're looking to save fuel while you're towing a trailer, this is going to be the setup for you. And then when it comes to payload, like usual, let's go check the door jam sticker. On this XLT hybrid all-wheel drive, you have 1,371 pounds of payload, which is a solid number for a truck this size. And now everybody, we're out here behind the wheel of this hybrid all-wheel drive XLT Maverick. We're just merging onto the interstate. There's a bit of traffic, but I can still put my foot into it for a second here. Right to the floor. And it feels okay. It's really, yeah, even this it's not a disappointing amount of power. Of course, it doesn't feel as good as the 2-liter EcoBoost. It doesn't sound very good. It sounds very much like a buzzy, naturally aspirated 4-cylinder. But just in terms of the actual power output, yeah, it feels plenty fine for merging into traffic, for handling on the interstate. And there's no turbo lag here because this is not a turbocharged engine, so it definitely doesn't feel like a typical EcoBoost. And it also doesn't feel like a typical CVT because this is an electronic CVT. So it's a different system. And so I will say there's a little bit of that where the revs kind of spike and then you kind of feel the power pickup. But there's a bit of a smoothness to that power delivery, which I like. And some of that is also just the torque you're getting from the electric motor. So you get that kind of push off the line, then the gas engine takes over. So yeah, I'd say the power delivery is smooth and it's plenty. You know what? There might be a couple situations where you find yourself wanting more, and of course if you're Ford, they're just going to tell you to, well, get the bigger EcoBoost. And obviously the benefit of going for the hybrid is fuel economy, so you got to give up something somewhere, and that overall power number is certainly what you're giving up. But you are going to get a big jump in fuel economy. So according to the EPA, this 2025 hybrid all-wheel drive is rated at 37 miles per gallon combined. That's actually the exact same rating that this thing had in 2024 with the front wheel drive, at least for the combined rating. But what's interesting about this story is when you look deeper into the city and highway numbers. So the highway miles per gallon on this 2025 with all-wheel drive is actually a little bit better. It's 1 mpg better than the front-wheel drive version, which frankly I do not understand, but it's nice to see. And then the city fuel economy is down by 2 miles per gallon. So this is about 2 worse in the city. I imagine part of that is because in the city, you are actually using that all-wheel drive more often. When you're taking off from lights, when you're giving it more power input, it's probably sending the power all the way around. Whereas cruising on the highway, it's essentially going to be in front-wheel drive. It's not going to be powering those rear wheels. So yes, the combined fuel economy is actually the exact same, and you actually can expect maybe slightly better on the highway. Now, we are trying to do a long-ish drive here today. We're probably going to get about 50 miles in by the time we're done. Very much mixed use. We cruised up here north of San Diego to Del Mar, and now we've turned around. We're going back on the interstate. I was hoping to, be moving quickly on the interstate, but of course it's quite busy today, so we're basically sitting in traffic. So yeah, the number we're going to produce is very much going to be a city number and a highway traffic number, but I'm still very curious to see what we can get out of this thing. Another feature that I've been really enjoying here is the Eco Coach. So in my gauge cluster, there is essentially, it's like a little box inside of a box, or a box inside of a set of brackets. And what it's doing is it's showing you at the exact point that the gas engine is going to take over from just electric, or when you lift off, it shows you how much regenerative braking you're getting and how much power you're recovering. So I've been running with the Eco Coach on basically the entire time we've been driving, and I really like it. And it does almost make it more of a game for you, like especially me around town. I want to keep this thing in all electric mode as often as possible. I don't want to use any gas, so I pay attention to exactly how much throttle I can give right before the gas engine kicks on, and that means that I'm not using any gasoline. So yeah, I really like the EV Coach. This is nothing new. This has been around in hybrids for a long time, but we do have a slightly new design here, and it's just worth pointing out that in these types of vehicles, I think it does go a long way to have sort of a visual reminder of what you're using in terms of hybrid battery or gas power plant, and then how you can conserve that gas. So definitely like the EV Coach feature. Talking driving dynamics, comfortable is the first word that comes to mind. The other thing with the Maverick that always stands out is just the dimensions. This thing is a compact truck, and we're so used to driving, mid-sized trucks, which are already pretty dang big, and then half tons and HDs, which are huge these days. So it's a pleasure to get in a compact. We were right downtown San Diego today, and we're actually driving back there right now. And when you're downtown in a big city with this thing, it feels totally at home, squeezing down little one-way city streets. So I like those dimensions, and like I said, that makes it easy to drive, because that's something we hear from pickup truck owners all the time, is it's just a pain to park those trucks. It's a pain to squeeze in to small city parking lots. So definitely, if urban driving is one of your main environments, that's one of the reasons why you might want to come down here to check out a Maverick. And yeah, it's also pretty quiet in here in the cab, besides when you put your foot into it and you hear that super buzzy 4-cylinder. But outside of that, yeah, quiet and comfortable are definitely the words. And then I also always like to point out in a Maverick just how big it feels in this cabin. It feels airy and comfortable, and it still feels like a truck. Now, this is an interesting concept, because we actually got talking to some of the engineers at Ford, and someone mentioned that, you know, the Maverick is small, it's compact, but it still feels like a truck. And they pointed out, you know, a few of the things that they did to retain that feeling. The one that I think is interesting is the fact that the dash is very vertical. It's also very flat horizontally, so it's kind of squared up, and it's a little bit further away from you. In most cars, in a lot of modern crossovers, they're going for sort of the cockpit design, where the dash kind of pushes out towards you a little bit, where most trucks, yeah, the dash always feels a little further away, a little more straight up and down. So Ford, of all companies, they know how to build trucks. So when they came down here to the Maverick, they thought, you know, yeah, let's give it the dimensions of a small vehicle, of a car, but we still want to make it handle and feel like a truck from behind the wheel. And that's sort of the magic formula that I think they have nailed. You know, unlike the Hyundai Santa Cruz, and I'm not bashing on the Santa Cruz, I do like that product, but it doesn't feel like a truck at all, where the Maverick definitely still has that truck feeling. And that's just one example of something that the engineers did to give it sort of that truck feeling. So I was sort of interested to hear that, and from behind the wheel, you definitely get that sense. And I always remember the first time my dad drove this truck, and that was his first comment was, you know what, it still feels like a truck. And we didn't know what to expect when Maverick first launched. Maybe it was going to drive more like a crossover or a small car, but it doesn't do that at all. So yes, been enjoying our drive out here with this Maverick, and if you're going to commute in this thing, if you're going to daily drive it, it really is a good package. Now, I mentioned the EV coach. I should also mention the drive modes. We are getting a couple of those here. So you get a slippery mode, you get an eco mode, normal. You do get a sport mode, and that's not something you see in hybrids all the time. A lot of the times brands go, well, you bought the hybrid, clearly you don't want sport mode. But yeah, Ford still gives it to you, so that's kind of nice. You know, you're still getting some fuel savings, but I'm sure if you're running in sport, you're going to get more of that power and less of the fuel economy. Nice to have the choice. And then there is also a tow haul mode, and you know what, I think that's incredibly important in any pickup truck or any vehicle where you're pushing that towing experience. And another thing that I like to see is Ford has trickled down all of their best towing technology to this truck. Things like Pro Trailer Backup Assist and Pro Trailer Hitch Assist, and we actually had a chance to demo those here today in the Maverick, so you can check that out now. Okay, Chelsea, I think we're ready to go.
All right, let's do hitch assist first.
Okay.
So all we're gonna do to get this started is push our Pro Trailer button here. So push, give that one push, and then we're gonna follow a bunch of on-screen instructions and prompts. So no trailers attached.
No.
Perfect. Give the system a minute to calibrate.
So what information do you have to put in here beforehand to make this work? Anything?
For hitch assist, nothing.
Yeah, got it. Okay.
Absolutely nothing. So now it's telling us to move the trailer coupler inside the target.
Inside the target.
So we'll just put it in reverse, and then we'll wait till that kind of, it'll turn green and tell you to stop when you're close enough.
Gotcha.
Yep. There you go. So you can just stop.
Okay.
Now it should tell you to, yep, throw it in neutral.
Neutral.
And now we are in the feature, so all you're going to do is push and hold that Pro Trailer button. No gas, no brake, no wheel, just push and hold.
And here it goes.
And then it will stop us a few feet out, and that's just going to prompt us if the trailer is high enough so we don't hit it.
Got it. Very smart.
But it's already pre-checked, so you can hit appropriate when that pops up.
Got it. And so this is it just using the camera system? Are there sensors involved too?
Yeah, sensors as well, so you can hit
eh?
appropriate.
Yeah, it is appropriate.
And then we're gonna push and hold that button until it lines itself up.
Even changes the view for you. That's great.
Yep, so you just push and hold, it'll pop up on the screen, system complete, and it'll put the truck in park and the parking brake on for you.
That's
Perfect,
so
if
cool.
you want to get out and check. And
Yeah.
then I'll hitch it up and we can switch to
Oh, and it
trailer.
goes to park 2 and
Yep.
parking brake on.
Yep, does it for you.
Brilliant. Exactly like it should be. Very, very neat. And look at that, it's right on the money.
Oh, perfect. You do my job for me?
Oh yeah. We do this stuff all the time. But yeah, that's so handy.
Yeah. It saves a lot of back and forth. This goes,
Sure, of course.
Putting that parking brake on is just so helpful so it doesn't shift.
Right. And then just real quick, the sticker here, that is still necessary for Pro Trailer Backup
This
Assist.
is still
That's
necessary,
correct? Okay.
so it's been pre-calibrated. We stuck the sticker on. It's got to be within 4 to 19 inches. So that's on. You calibrate it around the parking lot, do some turns just to get the angles for the camera.
Got it. Okay, very cool. All right, well, let's go see how it works.
So this, we're going to do backup assist now, and we're going to do the same. We're going to push the button, our Pro Trailer button.
Yeah, even before going into reverse?
Yep.
Okay.
You can actually push it, reverse, or drive, or park. So it's going to detect the trailer, and that's what that sticker is for.
Sure.
Yep, now we shift to reverse, and our feature is active. So we have our 360 view here on the right.
Mm-hmm.
If you want another view, there's also this view. This here
Oh, that's neat.
is our angle, so you can set the max angle, so it's not going to allow you to jackknife, so that's a great safety feature.
Got it.
And then this last view I kind of like best. This is the split view, so it eliminates like the truck and trailer, and you just see your side view mirrors.
Down the sides, and you can cheat this one way or the other,
Yeah,
right? Oh, that's really cool. Really out wide. All right, I think I kind of like the home view.
Okay, yep, so you can either, now all you're going to do is just use this knob only. No wheel, but you'll still have to modulate the brake and the gas.
Sure. And am I trying to go into those cones back there
If
on
you
my
want,
driver's side? Is that the idea?
It's set up for you to do that if you want to
Okay.
give that a try, or you can just go straight back.
Sure, no, I'll give it a shot.
So yeah, the knob, whichever direction you want the trailer to go.
Right. Yeah, it's such an intuitive system to be able to get into.
I think it...
Is it saying I'm going to jackknife?
Saying you're the max trailer. So maybe just pull forward and see if it'll redetect it for you.
Gotcha, just straighten out a little.
See if it'll read.
Uh-oh, I lost the sticker.
Yeah, sometimes in the sun.
Oh, trailer detected.
So yeah, it might have just been at that max angle and lost it.
Fair,
But
okay.
you should be good again.
Alright, let's try her again. Yeah, like I was saying, just it's so intuitive. I've never done this before. Now, I always say the same thing because we back up a lot of trailers. Oh yeah, lost it again, huh? Wonder if it is just an angle thing. So, but if I keep driving, it's not like it's not still going to work. I just got to take over, right? And actually, this is going to illustrate my point, because what I was just about to say is I always believe if you're going to back up a trailer, you should know how to do it yourself.
Yeah, so you can pull forward and see if it'll detect it again.
Sure,
and
yeah,
then
I'll straighten out again.
Try it one more time and see if it gets it. It's just a matter of that angle, and sometimes it's the sunlight. There is a coating on the sticker just for weather purposes, so sometimes.
Got it. Well, now, yeah, we'll bring it back the other way just to put it in the middle
right
here.
Right in the middle, and I think.
But yeah, if you've never done this, it's so easy. And actually, I think, like, to learn, just doing this, you start to understand the dynamics of a trailer. If you've never done this before and you don't understand sort of counter steering the trailer and everything, just being able to use this and you kind of see how the truck does it, it's going to kind of teach you in a way too. You
and
know?
notice that when you're not touching the knob at all, the truck and trailer is going to maintain
Dead
it
straight.
Dead straight.
And that's a big deal too. You know, talk about the boat launch. That's always the most stressful one everyone talks about. And generally, you can get lined up and then it's just a straight shot in. So that's kind of nice too, not to have to touch anything. So if you want to
pull forward, I can show you trailer reverse guidance. There is one more camera view that is not in the backup assist feature. So this is if you still want to steer manually, but you want to just keep your truck and trailer straight.
Okay.
We can get out of the feature by pushing the button.
Okay.
And then we'll just put it in reverse.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to go to our trailer view. Let it detect the trailer for a minute. Okay. And then we're still going. Now it's in trailer reverse guidance, and then we have this view here. So this is going to be your steering wheel inputs. So it's designed to keep your truck and trailer aligned.
Okay.
So if you want to put your trailer off a little bit,
Right. So it's not steering for me now. It's just going to tell
You have to
me
do the
where I need to
steering,
be.
but this will tell you
Okay.
to get your truck and trailer back aligned. You're going to have
I
to
need
put
to-
that much input into your steering wheel.
Interesting.
And then as you get it closer, it'll say less and less until it's up top where you just say keep it the wheel straight. So
Okay, very cool.
that's a very handy feature as well if you don't have the backup assist feature for some reason.
Right, and you use this a couple times, and like I said, inherently you're just going to start to learn how to do this, right? So that's really neat. And rather than having someone in the passenger seat yelling at you about how to do it,
Oh, yeah.
this is a lot calmer and nicer.
Spent many hours practicing with this feature. So
Yeah,
it's
very neat.
helpful.
Okay, awesome, and I'll put it back where we got it from.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right. Yeah, thank you. And then I think the other thing I'll say too is it's nice to see this in the Maverick, you know? Obviously, this is, I think, inherently thought of as a big truck feature, but why not bring it all the way down to the Maverick? So it's cool to see it trickle down.
Honestly, because you're at that new intro to towing level, 200, 4,000 or 2,000, 4,000 pounds.
Right.
And they're got that little boat. The little trailers are the squirmiest. So
Are the worst.
These features are perfect for this customer.
Yeah, that's another great point. All right, well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
So Ford, I think, solved a problem that basically they themselves created with the Maverick, especially when the Ranger went away for all those years, and Ford's company line was always, no, F-150 is the only truck you will ever need. Well, then the F-150 just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger till finally they went, okay, maybe we should bring Ranger back. But then, of course, by that time, Ranger was big too. So yes, they created this monster truck problem, and then they solved it with the Maverick. And you know what? The proof is in the sales numbers. This thing had an excellent year in 2024. It outsold just about every other mid-size truck on the market, so Ford has to be thrilled with those sales. One thing that I see, and this is just anecdotal because I don't have an actual number, but I notice tons of businesses using Mavericks as their fleet vehicles. I think that's such a good application because so many businesses, if you're an electrician, if you're doing maintenance at an RV park, if you're doing elevator maintenance, you don't have a ton of stuff you're bringing with you, but enough stuff that you need a bed, but you don't need a massive full-size bed. And then once again, a lot of those guys, you're in town a lot, you're downtown in cities, so you don't need a big truck that's hard to park. The Maverick is excellent for those applications. So I also suspect that the fleet sales have been really strong with this truck, and I just think that makes a ton of sense. The only thing I don't think makes sense is that General Motors and Stellantis haven't jumped into this segment yet. We are still waiting for the competitors to wake up and say, you know what, that Ford Maverick thing, it's really working. Why aren't we selling compact trucks too? Or heck, even Toyota. I mean, that thing has been rumored for a while now, a Toyota compact truck. Maybe it'll be all electric, who knows? But I can't wait for someone else to jump in this segment. I already mentioned the Santa Cruz. I know it's here. I almost don't consider them competitors because they feel so different. But yes, Santa Cruz definitely doesn't sell in anywhere near the numbers that the Maverick does. And yeah, those sales numbers, that's just a testament to this was the right product at the right time. And plus, Ford didn't make it soft. They still made it feel like a real Ford truck. So I appreciate all of those aspects of it. And now finally we have the best combination of things, that being hybrid with the all-wheel drive. So by now I'm sure you are wondering what the price of this truck is and what the fuel economy number is that we got on this drive. So let me throw up the prices here and then we'll report back on the MPG. I need to mention the interior changes now too, because there have been some additions for 2025. The largest, literally, addition is this big touchscreen here in the center stack. The previous Maverick, the screen was very much sort of built into the dash. This screen is much more mounted onto the dash, but it's nice. It's nice and wide. It offers all kinds of information. It now has wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and we've been running Android Auto today. So yeah, it's been working well. I guess the one thing I will caution people about is Ford has really moved away from physical buttons here. The one thing I personally like to see is my HVAC controls, which remain on the buttons. That's not here at all. All of the HVAC controls are up in the screen, including things like the fan speed and stuff. Yeah, those things I think should be buttons. They're just easier to get to, but that's a personal preference thing. And also, once you bought this thing and you got used to it, you probably wouldn't notice anymore. But it's just something to keep in mind if you're someone who likes those buttons and knobs. Yeah, Ford in this product is definitely moving away from that. And then we're here in an XLT, so a mid-trim Maverick, and we don't get the fully digital gauge cluster like some of these trucks get. There's still sort of two different gauges on the sides, and then the middle part is that screen. So just a slightly smaller screen basically, but it's still delivering all the pertinent information, and it's still customizable, so you can go in there and set it up as you want. And then yeah, just again talking overall seat comfort, seats feel nice, plenty of space in here. So yeah, they really only updated the things they had to on the interior, and that's a good thing. And now folks, we're coming to the end of this one and our drive. So we did 41 miles. We managed 47.3 miles per gallon, which is pretty dang good. Now, of course, it's totally dry out here in San Diego today, so it's not like we've been putting the all-wheel drive really to work. It's also nice and warm, so that would be different in the winter. And I will tell you, I was using that EV coach. I was trying to keep it in all-electric mode as often as possible. We actually did 26 miles of that 41 all-electric, which again is pretty impressive. But I also don't feel like I was hyper-miling. I really wasn't going that far out of my way to get good fuel economy. So I would take that number as, yeah, if you're trying a little bit, you can really squeeze good fuel economy out of this thing. But considering that we beat the EPA number by 10 mpg, that's super impressive. And again, Ford, they put together the right combination here where it's the great fuel economy with all-wheel drive, which is what everyone was asking for. So it's definitely a winner in my books. I do wish it wasn't the most expensive powertrain option, but at the end of the day, Ford also knows what is in demand and what customers are asking for, and therefore what customers will pay for. But yeah, like I said, that is it for this video. I need to hear from you guys. I will tell you that as soon as we can get one of these back home and we can actually do more real all-wheel drive testing, we can put a trailer on the back, do all those things we normally do, we'll do that for you as soon as possible. But for now, this was a pretty comprehensive first look. So yeah, go below, leave me that comment, let me know what you think of the 2025 Ford Maverick. Don't forget to check out our Lobo video as well here on the channel. And then, yeah, while you're down below, don't forget to hit like, hit subscribe, hit join to become a member of Truck King, and then make sure you come right back here to the channel to see what we're testing next. See ya.